Picture two men climbing the same mountain. The first man carries an enormous pack stuffed with everything he thinks he might need. More food, more tools, more spare clothes, more gadgets. He believes that the more he carries, the safer he will be. By the third hour, his shoulders are raw. He is gasping. He has to stop every few minutes. He never reaches the summit. The second man carries almost nothing. A small bag, a little water, one warm layer. He moves lightly. He stops to watch the clouds. He arrives at the top before noon, sits down, and watches the sun cross the entire sky. That night, around the fire, the first man asks him, "How did you climb so fast?" The second man smiles and says, "I did not climb faster. I simply carried less." This is the truth almost no one tells you. We spend our whole lives believing that fulfillment comes from addition. More money, more things, more achievements, more noise. But the heaviest people are not the poorest. They are the ones carrying everything they were too afraid to put down. The Japanese gave this a name centuries ago, Chisoku, the art of knowing what is enough. Carved into a stone basin at a temple in Kyoto are 4 characters that translate to a single sentence. I learn only to be content. The people who understood this were not rich. They were free. And today I am going to show you how they did it. The man who had too much. Let me tell you about a man named Tanaka Hideo. Hideo was, by every modern measure, a success. He worked at a large firm in Tokyo. He earned well. He owned a beautiful apartment filled with beautiful things. He had the newest phone, the finest suits, a shelf of watches he never wore. And yet, every morning he woke with a weight on his chest he could not explain. He had everything he was told to want, and he felt nothing. One weekend, exhausted, he visited an old temple in the hills outside the city. There he met an elderly groundskeeper, a quiet man who swept the same stone path every single day. Hideo, half-joking, asked him, "Doesn't it bother you, sweeping the same path that just gets dirty again?" The old man kept sweeping. Then he said, "The path is not the work. My peace is the work. The path is only where I practice it." Hideo could not stop thinking about that sentence on the train home. He realized that for 20 years he had been sweeping too, chasing the next promotion, the next purchase, the next achievement. And every time he reached it, the path was dirty again. The wanting never ended. He had mistaken the path for the peace. The tyranny of more. Why are we like this? Why is enough never enough? Because the modern world is built to keep you hungry. Every advertisement, every feed, every screen exists to make you feel that you are one purchase away from being whole. The entire machine runs on your dissatisfaction. If you ever felt that you had enough, the machine would stop, so it never lets you arrive. The moment you reach the thing you wanted, it whispers that there is something better. A bigger house, a nicer car, a higher title. You are on a treadmill that speeds up the faster you run. Chisoku is the act of stepping off the treadmill. It is the radical decision to say out loud, "This is enough. I have enough. I am enough." Not as a defeat, but as a victory, because the man who knows he has enough can never be made poor, and the man who does not can never be made rich. The practice of Seri Hideo began with his apartment. There is a Japanese principle called seri, which means putting things in order by removing what is unnecessary. He picked up each object he owned and asked one question. Not, "Could I use this someday?" but, "Does this add to my life right now?" Most things did not. The watches he never wore, the clothes with tags still attached, the gadgets bought to fill an empty evening. He gave them away one by one. And with each thing that left, the weight on his chest grew lighter. This is the part people misunderstand. They think simplicity is about owning less. It is not. It is about owning your attention. Every object you own quietly asks for a piece of your mind. It must be cleaned, stored, maintained, insured, remembered. A cluttered home is a cluttered mind. When Hideo cleared his shelves, he was really clearing his thoughts. Try this yourself. Choose one drawer, one shelf, one corner. Remove everything that does not earn its place. Notice how, when the space breathes, you breathe too. The power of Ma. In Japanese art, there is a concept called Ma. It is the meaningful emptiness between things, the silence between two notes of music, the pause between two words, the empty space in a painting that makes the brushstroke matter. Ma teaches us that emptiness is not nothing. Emptiness is what gives everything else its meaning. A calendar with no free space is not a full life. It is a trapped one. A mind with no quiet is not a productive mind. It is a frantic one. Hideo learned to leave space in his days on purpose, an hour with no plan, a walk with no destination, a meal eaten slowly, with nothing else happening. At first, the emptiness frightened him. He reached for his phone out of habit, desperate to fill the silence. But slowly, he learned to sit inside the quiet. And in that quiet, for the first time in years, he could hear himself think. The space he feared became the space he treasured. Shogunai and the things we cannot change. But simplicity is not only about objects and time. It is also about the weight we carry inside. Hideo worried constantly about the past he could not undo, about the future he could not control. He carried these worries like stones in his pack, climbing the mountain of his life bent double under their weight. The Japanese have a phrase for this, shogunai. It means, roughly, it cannot be helped. But it is not surrender. It is wisdom. It is the act of separating what you can change from what you cannot, then setting down everything in the second pile. The rain will fall whether you curse it or not. The train will be late whether you panic or not. Other people will act as they choose, no matter how much you wish otherwise. Shogunai does not mean you stop trying. It means you stop suffering over the things that were never yours to hold. You pour your energy only where it can actually move something. When Hideo learned this, the stones fell from his pack one by one. He still worked hard. He still cared. But he no longer bled over the storms he could not stop. The quiet wealth. A year later, Hideo returned to the temple. The old groundskeeper was still there, still sweeping the same stone path. Hideo no longer owned the watches or the suits. He earned a little less, having chosen a calmer role. By the old measure, he had less than before. And yet he stood there lighter than he had ever felt in his life. He understood now. Wealth was never the size of his pack. It was the lightness of his step. The richest man is not the one with the most. He is the one who needs the least to feel complete. He picked up a spare broom leaning against the wall, and together, in comfortable silence, the two men swept the path. Not because it would stay clean, but because the sweeping itself was the peace. Your practice. So here is your challenge for the next 7 days. Each evening before you sleep, take a single sheet of paper. On the left, write one thing you can let go of. An object, a worry, an obligation that drains you. On the right, write one thing you already have that is enough. A warm meal, a quiet morning, a person who loves you. At the end of the week, look at your 2 columns. You will see in your own handwriting that you were never lacking. You were only carrying too much. So tell me, what is the one thing you are ready to set down? The weight you have carried for too long, simply because you were afraid to put it on the ground. Share it in the comments below. And then whisper the vow of Chisoku. I have enough. I am enough. And that is where freedom begins. Before you go, stay with me for just one more moment. If you felt something while listening, that quiet pull in your chest, that small voice saying, yes, I have been carrying too much, that feeling is not an accident. It is the part of you that already knows the way home. It has been waiting a long time for you to listen. You do not have to change your whole life tonight. You only have to set down one stone. Then tomorrow, another. That is how every lighter life begins. Not with a leap, but with a single gentle letting go. And if this story reached you, then know this. There is a seat by the fire here, and it is yours. Every week we sit together and explore another quiet truth the world is too loud to teach you. So if you want to keep walking this path, tap that subscribe button. It is free, it takes 1 second, and it tells me you want the next story. Think of it as your way of saying, I am ready to carry less and live more. Ring the bell so you never miss the next chapter. Leave your one word in the comments, the thing you are ready to release. And share this with the one person you know who is climbing their mountain bent double under a pack too heavy. Until next time, walk lightly, want little, and remember, you already have enough. You always did.